Welcome back to Honoring the Journey. This is Leslie Nease. I'm your host, and I'm here today with a brand new friend. And it's like we're two friends having coffee, getting to know each other for the very first time. Her name is Kellie Strickland, and she is a trauma recovery coach, helping and really specializing in religious trauma. She has three grown kids. Youngest is 18. We also have a lot in common. I think, former ministry ladies now doing coaching, helping people through deconstruction and stuff like that. I think you're in the Pacific Northwest, right, Kellie?
Portland, yeah.
Yes, in Port. Oh, fun. Okay. Yeah, I'm in Utah, so we're pretty close. So we're
Yeah.
both kind of in this vicinity out west, you would say. I'm bringing Kellie to you because a friend of mine who is still in Christian radio, who knows where I am with my faith, I guess found your account on Instagram and said, "Do you follow this girl? I think you'd really like her." And so I did. I was like, I know this person who gave me this information is amazing. So I am certain I'm going to love her. And as I like sat down and sort of binge watched your videos. I was like, she's so great, like so real, somebody I can relate to. And so I was like, I want to know your story. So I'm going to bring you on the podcast. And thank God Kellie said yes. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here, Kellie.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah.
Honored. So
You're
thank
honored to be honoring the journey.
Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I
Okay.
am.
Well, I've been trying to start the podcast off on a light note with a fun question, just to
Mhm.
kind of get to know Kellie, not the trauma coach, not former ministry, not mom, but just the person, the human being, Kellie. So I'm going to start you off with just this random question. I did not prepare her for this, and I apologize for that, Kellie, but this
Don't
is what I
apologize.
do. Okay,
Do not
good.
apologize.
So let's talk about movies. Let's talk about movies. When you were growing up, what was the most impactful movie that you watched and why?
Okay, well, buckle in because I was raised without a television.
Oh. So
So,
oh,
I think we finally got a television when I was a junior in high school, and it was only hooked up to watch movies. And they were movies that my mother approved of.
okay.
So, um
Do you remember any of them? Probably not much. So this is a totally different. Now I have to ask a different question.
I mean,
What
I could
what
tell
did
you
you do like for entertainment without a television as a kid? What did you do?
um, played outside a lot.
Yeah.
I read a lot. I was allowed to read books, but only books by Christian authors.
Hmm.
Um, but I devoured all the books. I
As
am an
many as you
avid
could.
reader.
Okay. Well, what was your favorite book then? Do you remember?
Gosh. No, see, I probably would hate it now because they were Christian authors, right?
Well, you know what? We didn't have a TV for a while either,
Mm,
and we would listen to, like, Masterpiece Theater on the radio,
mm.
like back in the olden days. So that's what we would do.
I
And
listened to, we were in Chicago. I guess the most memorable, we were in Chicago or in Illinois, and so we listened to Moody Bible Institute, so
oh,
Adventures
yeah.
in Odyssey,
Uh-huh.
um, all of those. We listened to all of those.
All of those, yeah. Well, that tells me a little bit about, little Miss Kellie. So you grew up clearly, were you okay, fundamental, I would
Mhm.
assume. Was it, like, Independent Baptist, or what was it?
So my dad was ordained evangelical free, EV
Okay.
free, which
Mhm.
is essentially kind of like Baptist. He was a chaplain in the army, so we
Okay.
moved around a lot.
Oh, yeah, I did too. See, another thing we have in common. Yeah, every 3 years we had to move, and, the longest we ever lived anywhere was 4 years. So what about you? How often did you move?
So my dad was he went to college when I was little and then went to seminaries. That's why we were in Illinois, and he went to seminary, and then he got into the military. So we moved, I guess the longest we stayed was probably California. I think we moved from California when I was 9 to
Mhm.
Illinois, and then from there to Oklahoma, Oklahoma to California, California to Germany.
Whew.
So,
Wow. Yeah,
but
just hopping around.
yeah.
Didn't that I mean, like, I think about being a military brat and how awesome that was for me. Like, it taught me how to adapt to pretty much anything. I can make friends anywhere. But I do kind of get restless when I'm in one place for too long. I'm like, "This feels weird. I don't know what to do with myself." So I, like, rearrange the furniture or something.
Same, same. Yes. Yes.
I need change, please. Please don't make me look at the same thing over and over again. I don't know what to do with it.
Yes.
So, well, those are my dogs. I apologize. I have to do this to everyone. They're my co-hosts. They're dogs. I don't know what to do. I'm not going to get rid of them, so they're part of the show.
I love it. I
Okay,
love it.
good.
They wanna be heard too, it's fine.
Yes, exactly. Well, okay, so growing up, you were in, I guess, fundamental. Was that throughout your entire school years? And did you go to a Christian college where it sounds like there's a lot of fear in the growing up phase from the
Yes.
parents. Yes. Yeah, I know because I used to be one of them. So,
Yeah. So I was homeschooled,
mhm.
and then when we moved to Oklahoma, we went to a Christian school for freshman, sophomore year. And I say we because I have an identical twin sister,
Oh,
and, um, and then I have an older sister who is 10 and a half months older. We're all 3 adopted, and so we all were the same year. We were the
oh,
same
wow.
same year. So we went to Christian school freshman, sophomore, and then public school junior in Oklahoma. And then my dad got stationed to Korea. And then we moved back to California for 1 year. While my dad was in Korea, we went to a public school we went to Yosemite High School for our senior year. And then, and so from there, I went to Bethany Bible College
Hmm.
in Scotts Valley. It's an Assemblies of God.
Right.
So,
Wow. All right.
yeah.
And did you meet your husband in college or was that a little bit later?
Nope, I did. I
Yeah.
did. I met my husband in college, and the crazy thing is he dated my twin sister first.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me. He
I
didn't
am
get you
not.
confused, right? And you just let it go? No, okay, good.
No,
I'm
he
just making
didn't.
sure.
We would go on double dates, and he would my sister would always hang out with whoever I took, and then I would always hang out with him. And we became best friends, and
Oh,
then they broke up, and then we both had separate relationships with people, but we stayed really good friends. And then they broke up, and then I broke up with my boyfriend, and he stopped talking to me because he really liked the boyfriend. Anyways, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh hey.
oh, so you guys met and ended up getting married and you you married a pastor.
He became ordained after we got married.
Okay.
He he went and started he wanted to do youth ministry, so he moved to South Carolina. We were in California, and he moved to South Carolina to be the youth pastor at his dad's church, at a church his dad was pastoring. It wasn't his dad's church.
Where in South Carolina? Just out of curiosity.
Orangeburg, South
Orangeburg.
Carolina.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where that is. I'm from South Carolina. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, where are
Yeah,
you?
but in the Greenville, South Carolina area, but I also
Yeah.
have lived in TKK, which is near Rock Hill.
Yep.
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 So,
So we were on staff at a church in Rock Hill too.
oh my gosh, really? Which
Yes.
one? I probably went there. Oh my word, I probably spoke there.
Oh my gosh, because you asked me, I
I
should have
know,
all
I'm
this written
sorry.
down.
No, it's okay.
Um, Man, it feels like light years away, like eons
Yeah, no
ago.
big deal. No big deal.
This
Hey,
was
that's
20
pretty cool
years
though.
ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. That was about the time that I was probably out on the speaking circuit. I was on a Christian radio station right there. New Life
Okay.
91.9 in
Yes.
Charlotte. Yeah, I did the morning show.
Oh my gosh.
That
What
is
a small.
so what a small world. I swear we had no idea, guys. None at all.
No,
See what it's like having coffee with friends? You find out the funnest
that's
things. Yeah,
so
so
small.
yeah, I mean, as you're talking, I'm like, "Wait a minute, we have a lot in common. We were in the same area at the same time." So
Yes.
funny. Yeah. So I don't know if you remember the morning show with Gary and Leslie. I'm the
Yes,
Leslie. I'm the
I
Leslie.
do.
Yeah, that was me. Mhm.
Incredible.
I know. See how far we've come?
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, it's been a girl. It's been so hard. I know, and I'm proud of you too. I love your voice. I love what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about how this happened though, because like if you're married to a pastor and
Mhm.
you're a pastor's wife, you're in ministry, you're doing all the things, checking all the boxes, kind of like I was.
Yep.
What happened? How come you left religion and now have this great voice to encourage people who are doing the same?
So I wanna say, like, in college, my ministry, right, became damage control
Hmm.
in college. And
Oh
so our
wow.
ministry kind of always took that element of damage control. And we would help the youth, and we would help college kids, and we would help those around us, young married moms, things like that, community groups. We did all of the things. And our ministry pretty much was just holding space and caring for those that were hurt in the system. And
Yeah.
we tried to be the change in the system. And we didn't realize the capacity in which we were trying to be the change until we were kind of like, this isn't working.
Mhm.
This is hurting us more than we're helping. And we moved to Charlotte, and then we moved to Portland, Oregon, because my dad passed away suddenly and we needed to get back to the West Coast. And then we went to a church here, and we kind of wanted to fly under the radar. And the first women's thing that we went to, I had no idea who anyone was, and I just so happened to be in the pastor's home. I
Oh,
had
wow.
I
You
had
had no
no idea.
idea.
No idea. And I came home and I told my husband, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna kill me." Um, and fast forward, and I got on staff at the church here in Portland, Oregon. And I guess running parallel to wanting to be the change in the church, in the system, right? Um, all along, I'm deconstructing all of the ideas. I'm deconstructing hell. I'm deconstructing all of these things. So by the time I got to Portland, Oregon, and on staff at this church, I had pretty much deconstructed a lot of that indoctrination. I was just literally trying to be the change and advocating for volunteers, because I was a volunteer coordinator. So I made Sundays happen with volunteers, and I advocated for them and
Right.
appreciated them and tried to turn the rudder on the ship, right? And then it came a point when I needed to advocate for myself, and I knew when I was walking away that I was walking away from everything. I knew it. I knew
Really?
I was done. So I would say that I've been on a healing journey for 15 plus years, and I've been detangling indoctrination, reprogramming, unlearning for like 10 years.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. And that's painful. I mean, and I don't know, I do feel like, uh, kind of a similarity. It's like, what is it about coming out west that gives us a little more freedom to look into stuff? And I think a little bit of it was it's just very easy to just play the game, go along with it, try not to get too vocal about your doubts and your questions when you're in a Bible Belt sort of environment. It's very difficult. Everybody believes the same thing. It's very
Mhm.
easy to walk it out. So when you're having issues like this, you just don't know what to do with it. And so when we moved out west like 6 years ago,
Mhm.
um, that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna give myself permission to just look into stuff that I just the things that were giving me anxiety and that were making me feel uncomfortable and making me go, that doesn't sound like a loving God. Those were the things I wanted to look into. So that's what I started doing. And, I told couple of people maybe that I was, doing this, and everybody would say, well, make sure you're in a Bible believing church, make sure you're surrounded by, in fellowship with other believers and all the things to try to keep the indoctrination. Did you have anybody giving you any advice in this time, Kelly, or were you kind of out trying to do it on your own at this point?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Who did I
um,
talk to?
I wasn't vocal about any of it.
Yeah.
And honestly, even though I've been a trauma recovery coach specializing in religious trauma, we've only been on the West Coast for 8 years, so not too far behind you. So maybe I've been
Right.
on a deconstruction journey for more than 10 years, probably closer to 15.
Right.
I didn't talk about it to
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. I
Nobody,
didn't.
because no
Yeah.
one understands. My husband is 5th generation ordained minister, so his parents are pastor like, retired ministers at this point, and everyone is so deeply in that system that you can't talk to anyone about it. And when we moved to Portland, we didn't know anybody, not a soul.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
the church. So then we got involved at the church, and that church becomes your identity, church is your community, church is your family, and lo and behold, when you walk away, all of a sudden family is no
Conditional. Yeah.
right, community, right,
Mhm.
absolutely. So your
Yeah.
community is no longer available to you. So there's a whole lot of grief involved with all
Yeah.
of that.
Oh, the grief is so
Mm,
like that took me by surprise. And when you say you didn't talk to anybody, I can totally relate to
mhm,
that. I mentioned to a woman who was kind of like a mentor to me for a really long time. She was my mentor. I mentioned to her when in 2016, when, with Trump and all that. And then in 2020, I was struggling and I would say, somebody needs to speak up. We got to talk about this. Like, the church needs to understand, like, what is wrong? What is wrong? I didn't understand why it didn't make sense to me. And I started thinking, if they think that's okay, what else have they taught me? And so I would ask her and she would say, we just have to be really careful. And, and I understood what she was saying, but I realized very quickly she's not going to be somebody I can talk to about this. And
right.
so I just shut down and didn't talk to anybody either for probably 5 years. Just decided, eh, it's nobody gets it. And it's too hard when you're going through it to put it into words because it's like a work that's happening underneath that it just is. Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. You say you didn't talk to your husband. Are you talking to him now about everything, and where does he stand now? I mean, that's his story to tell, but,
Right. So with deconstructing all of that, we've been together. It's
right.
not I have spoken with him the whole time.
Good.
He's the
Oh,
only
good.
one. I mean, like, outside of that, we didn't
Yes.
really tell people.
Okay.
So our deconstruction journeys, detangling journeys have looked completely different. I am like, here's your foundation, right? Here's your
Right.
indoctrinational foundation. I put some TNT in that, blew it up, swept it up into a dustpan, threw it into a dumpster, and then set the dumpster on fire. Just like clean space, start over, I'm done.
Yeah.
And whereas my husband is like, here's all of the blocks to my foundation. We're just we're just gonna look at it for a second, and then we're gonna maybe this piece doesn't fit anymore.
Right.
Then we're gonna rearrange all of this, and then maybe this piece doesn't fit anymore. Huh. So it's been really methodical for him,
Right.
and, so we like to say that we're on the same page, just different spots on the page.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that, and I think most people going through detangling or deconstruction,
Mhm.
most of us are on a different part of the page, where everybody wants to lump us together so they can try to understand what's happening, especially evangelicals, they really wanna just, like, tell us what it is and how dangerous and whatever, but, like, until you're going through it, you don't understand. Like, it is not the same. We're all on different journeys and it's all beautiful. Like, it's your husband is going to do that probably because, you know, he it was drilled into him when he got his what is it called when they get why can't I think of it?
Coordination.
Yes, thank you. Good grief. That word did not want to come out.
That's okay.
But yeah, it's going to be a little maybe deeper of a root. And for me, kind of the same thing. And I
Mhm.
think I still like want to hold on to Jesus in some capacity. I still want to hold on to God. I'm not an atheist. I am a hopeful, almost agnostic, but not
Mhm.
really, because I do believe there is a God.
Mhm.
I just here's the thing, I don't believe in the God that I believed in before. Yeah. Bingo.
Mhm.
She's pointing at me like, "Girl, that's it."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it, and I think that's the beauty of your own journey is I could probably tell you what I don't believe a lot easier than what I do.
Yep.
And yeah, you feel that?
Yeah, I'm again the clean slate, right? There's nothing here. I am only going to put foundational blocks that are universally true. What is
Yes.
true? And it
Right.
has been years, and the only foundational block that I have found to be true is love.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's it. That's it. That's my foundation. Love. That's the only block I have in the big vast room that used to be indoctrination.
Had so many blocks. Yeah, you
Yeah.
needed a bulldozer to get them down. Yeah, no, I
Yes.
know exactly what you mean, and I have said many times that I feel like a lot of where I'm at in my journey is I'm like, doesn't if it doesn't highlight love, if it doesn't lean into love, if it isn't about love, if it's about fear, if it's about control, if it's about power, I'm not going to go there. Like, that's just not, that doesn't sound like the God that I know in my heart is true. And, that was a hard thing to say when I was in evangelicalism, because you're not supposed to feel anything. Your feelings, you can't trust them. And so when I say something like that, I hear my evangelical Leslie going, "You can't say that. Who cares what you want to believe or what you think is true? None of this matters unless it's from the Bible." And so all of that has been, those are the blocks that I've had to take out and try to figure out how to deal with. So it's down to love. I like that.
It's the only truth.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of like a guessing game.
hmm I agree. The thing I like the most about Jesus is it was all about love.
Mhm.
And that Christ spirit, I think, is his message. Just love people, love them right where they are. Don't put up with systems. Bring the systems down. And then, of course, what happens when that happens is the systems get rid of you. So,
Exactly. No
yeah.
accountability, no pushing back, no questioning, no yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yep.
So if I am struggling and I'm realizing that maybe, because see, I don't know, Kelly, what do you think about this? Because I feel like a lot of people who are in evangelicalism at this point, they don't realize the trauma that they're in. You know what I mean? But when they start to wake up to that and they start to go, I wonder if this is trauma. I wonder, like, what would you recommend? Like, what would you say to somebody who was coming to you for the first time? Maybe just a consultation to see if it's a fit.
First of all, I asked them how do you feel about cussing?
Oh, I'm fine with it. Are you saying you asked them that?
I do, and I'm asking you that.
Oh, I don't care. I mean, it's funny. I used to be like really scared of it, and I had all the funny words that like replaced it.
Right. The
And when yes,
Christian cussing.
well, one time on the Christian radio, I said, "Shut the front door," and I got in trouble. So
I bet
yeah,
you did.
I
I bet
did.
you did. I bet you did. I
I
can hear
got in
him
trouble.
now.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that was." Anyway. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all. I try. I don't do a whole lot of it on my show. Um,
Yeah.
But I don't care if other people do. I just want you to be yourself, you
Okay.
know? So go, do your thing.
So if we're in a consultation and you tell me I don't know, you just tell me you tell me what you just told me of I don't know if I don't even know. A lot of people are like, I don't know if if it is religious trauma. I don't know. I don't have big T trauma, right?
Mhm.
But I have all the symptoms of trauma, or I think I have trauma, or I'm stuck in this or whatever. And I just need some help with it.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
anything you can do? Do I have? And a lot of it is because you were told over and over and over and over and over again, it's ingrained, it's a limiting belief. It is internalized trauma of I am worthless. I
Yeah.
am a filthy rag.
Mhm.
I am all of those things, right? And so your voice is silenced. And so when they come to me in a consultation, one, they're showing up. Two, they're already investing in themselves. Three, they're saying it out loud that they've never said. They've probably never said it out loud before. And a
Right.
lot of them tell me that. So the number after they do their whole thing, the number one thing I say is, "How do you feel about cussing?" And 99.9% of them are like, "Hell yeah." And I and I'm like, "I am so fucking proud of you."
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a different language,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's one that says, "I'm not judging you,"
it's
clearly, because I don't know. It's kinda like when people have a tattoo, and, like, it used to bother me when I was deep in it, and you're like, "Why do they have to do that to their bodies? God's
mm,
temple." And then I realized they're trying to keep people like me away. That's what they're doing by putting those things on their body. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, "Hey, if you don't like it, then you're not gonna talk to me." It's instant jerk detectant, you know what I mean? So, for me,
interesting.
I mean, not the only
Okay.
reason, but I was like, I remember thinking, and now I have tattoos, so, it's,
Right.
and I don't do it to keep people away, but I tell you what, it is kind of a bonus. Like, if you don't like me for what I am, then you can
Mhm.
just keep going.
Yes. they would get, the tattoo, but then like in Revelation, Jesus comes back riding a horse with his name tattooed on his thigh.
Yeah. 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 And it talks about how God has us written on the palm of his hand.
Yes.
Yes. I'm like, God has a tattoo and it's me.
Also, like the Vatican is
Yeah.
covered in
Mhm.
murals, so
Mhm. I
that's
know. None of it makes sense
it.
now. At the time it
Yeah.
did. But I was also raised with a mom. I love her very much and she's
Yes.
amazing. But
Yeah.
she always told me if you have a tattoo, it's because you were in prison. So
I'm pretty sure my mom said the same thing. I also love my mom too. We
yes.
worked really hard on our relationship.
Yeah, we do too. And it's great. But yeah, that has always kind of stuck. But now I'm fine. I don't care.
I love it. You heathen.
I know, I know. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's not the first time I've been called a heathen for sure. But
same. So I guess going back to trauma,
yes.
it's recognizing, validating
Mhm.
that yes, it is trauma. And people don't understand that. So harm and abuse happen externally, right? So we're hearing all this indoctrination. We're hearing that we're filthy rags. We're hearing that our virtue is tied, our worth and our value is tied to our virtue. We're hearing all of this harmful theology, and everything is external, right? We're hearing it, we're experiencing it physically, but the trauma is internal. Trauma
Right.
is an internal wound, and how it is internalized and where it is stored in the body. I also have a somatic approach because it's all connected.
Oh
And so
yeah.
trauma manifests in your body. And I can talk to people and I watch everything that's going on, and I can see when we hit something and their whole body, it's like they just close in on themselves,
Yes.
or they stop breathing, or they start like scratching, they get like visibly uncomfortable. Then it's like, what's happening right now in your body? Why is
Mhm.
this connecting something in your body? Something's activating there. Like, what's going on? And it's because we are so disconnected from our bodies. Do not lean on your own understanding. Your body is sinful and gross,
Yeah, yeah.
deserving of hell. So we have learned to not trust any of this. So everything is external. We look at outside of ourselves. So connecting with our body is like a huge key in order for those of us that were raised in high control religion to heal from the trauma.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
amazing. It's almost like getting to know somebody for the first time.
It absolutely. Absolutely.
Yourself.
Yeah.
And I've said before, probably even on this show, but I don't remember. I probably did. But where like that's been probably the coolest thing about deconstruction for me has been getting to know myself and what I like and what I want and what I did, how I see God and how and being okay with the fact that it's not how the system sees God, and being able to just recognize that and just to say I'm free. I don't need this. It is hard to get to this point, and I wish I could explain, um, but it just took time, and it took intention, and it took
Mhm.
a lot of therapy and coaching. I actually did some coaching, so I think it's super important to be able to get it out, and that's part of the somatic healing. Actually, is being able to communicate what's going on inside.
Mhm.
So are you into yoga and all of that as well, or not so much, or
I don't I wanna get into yoga more than yeah, I haven't. That's just one practice I haven't done, but I have a meditation practice, mindfulness
yeah.
practice, grounding practice.
Mm,
I try to get outside every single day. Um, and yeah, I'm not religious anymore, I'm spiritual.
right, yeah.
And,
I
um,
would say the same for me.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think I always thought I was. I always thought
Mhm.
that's what I was. And
Yeah.
so realizing that, oh no, babe, you are steeped in religion. Because I remember even on Survivor, I said, I'm not religious. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what we
Mhm.
were told to say. That
Right.
was the thing. There's a big difference. Religion is outward, relationship is inward, So I knew what to say, but in reality, it was religion. I mean,
Mhm.
it totally was because it was a practice that came from an institution or a system. So where you're Where do you stand? Oh, you say you're not religious, you're spiritual now. So what does your life look like?
I will probably never step foot in a church again unless it's like one of my kids getting married or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
I have no desire, and
Mm.
it's so once you're on this side of it and you see the harm and the abuse and how much damage is done, it's very difficult. I don't think I'll ever be able to go back to that, and I don't want to,
Yeah,
I don't want to.
yeah.
And my husband, my whole family, we were all very, very, very involved because, when you're on staff at a
Mhm.
church, staff kids are held to a higher standard and an example, right? And they volunteered, they did everything. And when I left, they left with me, and we left as a family. And my youngest, actually, who is 18 now and graduating high school, for 2 or 3 years after I left, they still went to church. Not the church I was on staff at, but they were still going to a different church, and they were going to youth group, they went to youth camp, they did the whole thing, and it really surprised us. We're like, "Oh, interesting," because we didn't like, if you wanna go, go.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
totally fine. We always tried to encourage critical thinking when they came to us with questions. It was always, "Well, what do you think about that?" "Well, this is what we know about this, but what do you think about that?" Try to
Right, yeah.
encourage that, thinking for themselves, why they believe what they believe. And so my youngest was the one that went the longest. And I think one of the main reasons why they stopped going is because they are transitioning. They
Mm,
are, they've been on for over a little over a year now. And
wow.
they wanted to go back to youth camp, but they were like, "I am not. I will not be in the boys' dorm. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I will not." And I don't wanna make anyone else uncomfortable, and I don't wanna ask
Right.
for my own room because then that changes the whole experience. And I just think this is, and so they knew, they were conscious, they were intentional their very last summer camp of, "This is probably gonna be my last one because I don't wanna make anyone else uncomfortable, and I don't wanna have to." Anyways, so they stuck it out the longest as far as that, and I think they would still tell you that they are, a Christian.
Mhm.
They're the only one, I think, in our family, our little family, that I have 3 kids, so they're the only ones that would probably say that, which is
Yeah.
so surprising, which Jesus never said one thing about homosexuality or
No, mm-mm,
not one thing.
not one
So,
thing. Nope. I
yeah.
say that all the time. That's like
Mm.
one of the first things that I started kind of, I don't know, looking at was that
Mhm.
because there's a guy who was on Survivor with me on my tribe who was a gay Mormon flight attendant. And of course, they put the Christian radio host on his tribe and thought that we would just, go at it. But instead, I just listened to him.
Mhm.
And when I came back, I just started realizing, wow, I really love this kid. And I don't want to dismiss the pain, that
Mhm.
he's had from being in, another religion
Mhm.
that was very not affirming, I
Mhm.
guess you could say. And so I don't know. I started doing some more research, and when I realized how that whole thing was handled and the word put in there and all of that, I was like, so okay, what else have we done with the Bible? And
Yes.
when you do the research and you start to find things out, like, I mean, I'm gonna say it again, Kelly, I really thought I was gonna find all the answers and go right back and then just like share with the church, here's what it means, and it's so good, and we're right, and that's not what happened. And man, it's a shame. It's a
Mhm.
shame what we've done in the name of control and power and religion.
Control, power, right? Fear-based,
Yeah.
shame-driven, but all the agenda hidden behind God,
Yeah.
using God's name and weaponizing the Bible. That's
Right.
and then they
Weaponizing
mask.
God. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, the whole thing to me, um, Never thought I would say it. Can't believe I'm saying it, but if you want to stay in the way of thinking that the Bible is inerrant, word
Mhm.
of God, this is the truth. There's nothing outside of it that's true. This is the only truth. If you want to stay there, that's fine. Just don't do the research. Don't do it because you're gonna find yourself going, oh no, because my heart was in the right place, like it really was, and so I don't know. But that's the way life is, right? And I'm free to do that. I can do that. And if someone wants to stay in that, they're free to do that as well. That's
Absolutely. Yep.
just no harm. That's the only thing. And the harm is what got me questioning. So I
Mhm.
just don't want to be a part of harm anymore. I just want to be a part of love.
Exactly. And that's why that was inevitably like the reason why I left was I will no longer be complicit
Hmm.
in a
Yeah.
system. Even though I'm trying to be the good and the change in the system, I will no longer be complicit in a system that ostracizes and marginalizes and completely hates other people, all in the name of love and a God who is completely narcissistic and abusive. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out.
Yeah. Well, you did what was best for you and your family did what was best for them. I'm sure
Mhm.
everybody is better for the efforts.
Right?
That's awesome. And now
Only can help.
you're helping other people through it. And I think that's awesome.
Mhm.
And the videos that you put out there are just so I don't even know the word, maybe affirming, but that's kind of, you know, maybe overused, but it feels like that. That it feels like she gets what I'm going through. She
Mhm.
understands. So I appreciate the voice that you have and the way that you present yourself without fear. Um, it's important. I think that more of us need to be speaking up. And I even hear from people who are still in ministry who are having
Mhm.
a lot of doubts, who are like,
Mhm.
thank you for what you're doing. Thank you
Mhm.
for, because it's not easy to put yourself out there and to be ostracized and to be made fun of and to be called names. Um, but you know what? Love is worth it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So much hate. I get so much hate, Christian love, hate
Yeah.
every single day. I get called names every single day, and all of us do who are sitting in
Oh,
this
yeah. In
holding
this
this
space. Yeah.
space. Yeah. And I have clients who are still in the ministry, still trying to be the change inside the system, all the way to clients who are completely atheist and want nothing to do with it. And every single person in between on that spectrum, because it's not binary, right? It's a spectrum. And
Absolutely.
every single position and feeling and stance is completely valid.
Yeah.
There's no right or like it's your life, your choice, your decision. And that's the beautiful thing. It's your decision. And when we are raised in it, they say it's our choice, right? But it's not.
No, it's
Because if you
coercion.
don't choose, it's coercion and it's fear mongering, right? It's
Yeah.
hell. No one's gonna a kid is not you. That's it's horrible. And so for us to be adults going, wait, I actually can decide and wrestle with my own salvation with fear and trembling, like it says in the Bible.
Right.
And it's a beautiful place to be. Scary, disorienting, but so beautiful. And there's a lot of us out here. There are a
There
lot of
really are, and it's
Mhm.
yeah, a lot more than we even realized.
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of DMs from people who are still in ministry, people who
Yeah.
are still in the thick of it, and
Mhm.
some of them I'm like, "How are you doing this?" Like, and they're doing it because they really wanna make a difference. They wanna
Mhm.
make a change, and I am their biggest fan. You go, you do that. Do it as long as you can. I couldn't do it for very long because
Long enough.
nobody wanted to hear what I had to say unless it was the way they wanted me to say it. So,
Right. Filtered. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's just not going to work for me. But if you can figure out a way to do it, then go for it. I think that's awesome. You know, that's we need people in the church who are, more open-minded, more aware, I think of the things going on behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz kind of stuff that is happening, unfortunately, in religion. So, anyway, I digress. I could talk about this all day. It's just
Same.
so interesting to me. So, I
Same.
appreciate you coming and just being on the show and letting people know what you do. Very, very cool what you're doing. And thank you for helping people and for being a safe place for them to land. And whether they believe or don't believe anymore, that's so great and so open-minded of you. Thank you for that, Kellie.
Oh,
So
thank you.
if people want to find you, where do they go? How do we find you online?
So I am on Instagram and on TikTok, Chit Chat with Kellie. And I do have a link in both bios on Instagram and on TikTok to you can schedule a free 15-minute consult with me, and I can hear a little bit of your story and we can see if we're a good fit to work together. So yeah, and my website is kellystricklandcoaching.com.
Okay.
Yep.
And I will put all of this on the show notes. So if people want to just click, they can do it right then and there and come and see you and meet you and maybe even have a little consult and see if there's a good
Mhm.
fit there. So
Yeah.
thank you, Kellie, for sharing your journey. And it's so funny how much we have in common. That was so weird. I
I'm
did not expect that.
I'm blown away. I'm gonna be like running downstairs to my husband
I
and be like,
know.
"Oh my gosh."
You're not going to believe who that was.
Such a small world. And
She's a heretic now.
I um I want to say thank you. Thank you
Oh,
for the space. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for your courage and your bravery and your vulnerability and your transparency.
thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. It's definitely not easy sometimes, but
Mm-mm.
the alternative seems to me much worse, which is
Yes.
not saying anything. And I do think that there is something going on. People
Mhm.
are waking up. People are starting to understand that you can be spiritual. You can have a relationship with God in your
Mhm.
way and not turn people away from God at the same time, you
Yes.
know, thinking that you're doing that because you love them, but in reality it's not right.
Yeah.
So, thank you. And you know what? This has been great. I appreciate it. I feel like I made a new friend. So,
Absolutely. I'm here for yes. It
we'll
doesn't
figure
stop
something
here.
out. Yeah,
And
this
also, Leslie, I want to tell you I'm so fucking proud of you.
I don't know why that made me giggle. That was so great. Thank you.
I am. Look, you
Thank
did
you.
that. Look how far you've come. You did
Yeah,
that. And I am so fucking proud of you.
thank
So
you.
give yourself some fucking credit.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
It's not something I'm used to doing because it was always,
Right.
the Lord did it through me or,
Right.
it's like,
Right.
wait,
It's
whew,
God gets
okay.
all the glory. I don't.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
did that. You did that.
Yeah, I did. So thank
And I'm
you.
proud of you.
Thank you. That means a lot.